yearning to be a jazz musician. Try as he may, his only success in the music industry has unfortunately only been as the drummer for the Rolling Stones. What a disappointment, eh? But he's now trying to forget the money, the fame and the women that accompany such a sad life. Let's find out if the jazz world is ready to embrace the man who once said, "I hate rock and roll." Please scat your welcome to Mr. Charlie Watts. Well, they sort of tucked your mic away there. No, that's
no, I moved it, actually.
Smart suit, though. Now, I tell you what, I was interested to meet you, because you're the Rolling Stone I'm most interested in, if I may say, because I think everyone has an opinion or an idea of what the other Rolling Stones are like. Everyone thinks like Jagger, very good for his age. You think of Keith, lucky to be alive. You think Woody. You do, don't you? Woody, cheeky young fella. Bill Wyman.
Lucky to be alive.
We've all got a thing or two to think about Bill Wyman. But you're the man. I don't think people know much about you. Is that deliberate? Do you keep yourself out of the limelight?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I do.
Oh. No, that's a good answer. That's fair enough. That's fine.
I don't know what this... Yeah.
But you've always struck me as being like the straightest member of the band, because I know you no, well, you know, you got married in the 60s and you've stayed with that one wife, which I think is admirable, and you haven't strayed, it seems, like the other fellas. Do you look back, are you embarrassed at any of the stunts the Stones pulled, like wearing the dresses for Goat's Head Soup or the...
No, nothing like that. I've only ever been embarrassed with things I've done. There's this illusion about me that I am actually not as straight as people think.
Well, maybe you can share that with us afterwards,
exactly.
Charlie. But would I be right in thinking that you are the only member of the Stones who doesn't use Grecian 2000?
I am the only member.
Now, the quote I threw out there at the beginning was that you'd said at one time is, "I hate rock and roll." Was that true? Did you say that?
No, I never said that. Right. And I don't
you ever met anyone who said anything like that at all? Ever?
No, I mean, I've never had a yearning to be a jazz musician. I mean, I just play in various settings.
I was under the impression that that's what you had wanted to do when you were younger. That you'd
no, that's what I started out actually with the bass player in this quintet. We lived next door to each other, and we played in a skiffle band. And from there we went to jazz. And David went off into jazz, and I joined. You know. But playing with the Stones is the same as playing with a jazz band, really. Yeah. I mean, it's the same job.
But it's a different sort of music and a different...
Well, you just listen differently, that's all. Mm.
You ever tried to lure the Stones more to jazz? Ever tried to do more sort of jazzy stuff?
No, one is one. No. No, I might have done, but I haven't done it intentionally. Why are you laughing at me?
They're laughing because they think you're giving me these incredibly short answers, and they can see me calling the cab and getting ready to leave now, you know. Cab for Mr. Ross? Yeah, I'm out of here. See you, Charlie. Now, we're going to talk about Charlie Parker, because you just... this book that you wrote in '65, I believe?
No, I wrote it... I wrote it in 1960, 59, 60. I wrote it. It was published in 64.
So it came out around, sort of vaguely in the 60s, we're talking then.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in a right decade here. Why the interest in Charlie Parker? I mean, I know you're a jazz fan, but why Charlie Parker in particular?
I don't know. I heard him when I was 12, and I musically fell in love with him. And I just had an interest in that music.
What did you think of the Clint Eastwood movie that came out? There was the Bird biopic that came out. That was.
I thought it was very well done. The only thing I didn't like about it, I think Charlie Parker, and I spoke to Red Rodney, who actually played with him. You know, the little Jewish guy that was supposed to.
Was he a trumpet player?
Yeah. And I asked him, and he said, I thought that Charlie Parker was more fun than he looked in the movie, because it's a very down movie. I mean, his life wasn't exactly hugely happy. I mean, he totally wrecked himself and destroyed himself by the age of 35. But he said that he was an awful lot of fun, and I'm sure that didn't come across in the film to me. But I don't think you can do a movie about someone as big as Charlie Parker without people like me sitting there going, "Oh, the date was wrong," or "You didn't have tea on a Wednesday," you know.
Something to knock about it, perhaps, or something.
Yeah, and you know, you just get protective about these things. You know.
Now, this has been re-released because you have an album out of... You've done a couple of Charlie Parker compositions and many of your own, which I believe they time with
the book has been... somebody said, "Can we release the book?" I said, "Yeah, reprint it." And then the publisher said, "Will you do some music for it?" And I said, "Yeah."
It's almost like a kid's book, isn't it? It's very simple in its way.
When I was a designer, they asked, one of the things to do was like design books, and kids' books you get away with murder with.
So it's kind of laziness there. So you're going to finish the show this evening. We're going to have some cool jazz to kick off the Friday evening.
Is that what you call it?
At the end of the show. Oh, it sounded pretty cool to me. And this is one of your own compositions. Which
well,
is
it's one of Peter King's compositions, who wrote the music for me on this project.
For the quintet. And this one's called?
Practicing, Just Great.
Well, you've been fun to have on the show. It's been a pleasure meeting you.
I'm sorry.
You've been funny. I'd like to meet you. We've got the quintet waiting back there.
Okay.
Charlie Watts, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. You can go in there.
Well, there you go. Thanks, Charlie, and of course all my guests tonight. See you on Monday with Muriel Gray, Matricia Berg, and that 12-year-old kid I tell you about, James Harris. Until then, here's the Charlie Watts Jazz Quintet with Practicing, Just Great. Have a good weekend. Good night.